This week's best MMA bets, we're talking UFC Shanghai. I'm going to give you guys my lock of the week, my most confident picks on the card. We'll talk favorite underdogs, Degen Props of the night, and then we'll finish it out with the parlays. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and make sure you share the video too. Last week, Lock City parlay hit. Khamzat Chimaev, Carlos Prates hitting that plus money. We're back on fire. When I do the two-leg lock cities, magic tends to happen. And I'm bringing the savage momentum of not only UFC 19, but last night I clean swept the Contender Series and my underdog lock hit for that. So I'm riding high off some great picks and some high caliber analysis. All right. So I'm feeling locked and loaded. I'm going to bring you guys another two-legger. I'm going Lock City parlay again. So without further ado, the UFC Shanghai lock of the week. Ming Yang Zhang and the Waldo Pavlovich over 1.5 rounds is going to be my lock for this card. It spoke to me and I said, yeah, that's the one to ride with. Plus 112. I'm going with Where's Waldo to, at the very worst, survive the onslaught from Pavlovich. Listen, whereas Waldo's a former professional boxer and he's one of the quicker heavyweights on the roster, I hate to say it, but I think Pavlovich is kind of flatlined as far as skill progression. No, crazy new wrinkle in his game. His style is built upon plotting pressure, big power shots, which he normally overwhelms some lower level guys, breaks them, knocks them out, etc. His win over Curtis Blades was pretty badass, but he had a hard downfall. Tom Aspinall knocked him out in the first round. Volkov kickboxed him up for 3 rounds. Then he won an okay decision against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, another guy who never really shown signs of improving across his UFC career. But that's the complete opposite of what I see with Where's Waldo. I remember Where's Waldo's debut and thinking, okay, he's an ex-pro boxer, played some pro baseball. He's got some athleticism. He'll do all right. And I was riding high on him since the jump. And then the Marcos Rogerio de Lima fight. And I was like, all right, I expect the skill set to flatline here and that's it. Since that point, he has gone on a 5-fight win streak. And he just beat Sergey Spivak, who's an absolute monster grappler. He was able to stop the takedowns, outstrike him. And throughout that fight, he was fighting off the risk of ending up on his back in a terrible spot. Pavlovich has okay wrestling, but to be fair, it's more from the defensive side where Pavlovich wrestling shines. Sure, he showcased it against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, but Rozenstruik, like I'm saying, he's flatlining skills. Waldo riding high off improvements, very athletic, quick with his hands, nice body work as well. And he has developed a leg kick game. Earlier in the UFC run, my flaw on Where's Waldo was he was a bit of a subpar leg kicker. Give up a lot of leg kicks and didn't seem comfortable stopping them either. He started to find a home for a lot of leg kicks. And on top of that, I think that his cage comfortability is at an all-time high since now he's a UFC staple veteran heavyweight and he's surging up the ranks. I believe in momentum in this fight game. Yes, Pavlovich coming off a win, but 1-2 in his last 3. Whereas Waldo on the other side, 5-fight tear. I'm looking at the matchup and I play it out in my head. I am hard pressed to even think that Pavlovich would blitz and try and close the gap like that on Waldo. Because say what you want, Waldo's maybe not the heaviest puncher. He will make you pay if you try to blitz him, walk him down in a bit of a reckless manner. Pavlovich has power, and I would say definitely going to have the one-punch knockout advantage over Waldo. But Waldo has shown a very good chin, good ability to roll with shots, good defensive skills, and good speed. Heavyweight speed, deceptively quick for the heavyweight division, and he's a full-sized heavyweight weighing in at 265 last time. Going to have the weight advantage over Pavlovich with the speed edge. I don't think Pav's knocking him out. I think we're going 3 hard rounds, but the over 1.5 just seems like a gift. And I'm thinking about the matchup, and I'm like, Waldo's quicker than him. Waldo's boxing is sharp. He's an ex-pro. Pavlovich very much a plotter. And I think that the more high-caliber skill set based upon combinations, movement, and ripping to the body, not just headhunting with a skill set and kick style that Waldo is starting to formulate, I think Waldo's got the juice to give Pavlovich a run for his money and pull it off. But that's not part of the lock. The pick, yeah, I'm calling Pavlovich to lose by decision. I'm going Where's Waldo for the W. We found him. But the over 1.5, I think, is the give me of this fight here because I think it's a 3-rounder. Waldo over 1.5 with Zhang in the main event. Listen, as I spit out the Zin for good luck. When we have fights between power punchers and Johnny Walker, I have to pick the power puncher. How many times do we have to see it? Coming off of knockout losses to Volkan Ozdemir and Magomed Ankalaev. Whenever there is a fighter that can box a bit, you have to be worried about the chin of Johnny Walker. He was dropped by a middleweight boxer in sparring. I hate to shit on Johnny Walker because I like Johnny Walker. I'm a fan of Johnny Walker. He's got a fun style and he's easy to root for. He's crazy. But aside from some crazy flying knee or spinning elbow, in the striking realm, he's a lot slower than Mingyang Zhang. His boxing is not nearly as sharp. I think he's too hittable for Zhang. I feel like he's getting stung by big shots throughout this fight. And I think it's going to be a lot of striking in this matchup. I'm favoring the prospect on the rise. I'm going to believe in the absolute savage 12-fight winning streak from Mingyang Zhang, who's only 27 and seems like a red-hot contender in this heavyweight division, or rather light heavyweight division. I'm talking too damn fast for myself. I think Mingyang Zhang's putting Walker away. I feel like it could look similar to the Ozdemir fight. First, second round, I think Zhang's sleeping him. I think Walker is going to walk into something. Excuse the bad puns. I don't mean to do them. Walker's got long reach, but he's not a distance master of striking. He's okay from the outside. I mean, I guess he kickboxed up Anthony Smith to a decision win 2.5 years ago, but what does that really say? Especially, Anthony Smith was on the tragic downfall at that point. We saw what Zhang did to him in his last fight. Obviously, a more washed version of Anthony Smith, but Mingyang Zhang's nasty. It's not just punches, it's elbows, comfortability and punching range. I think that Mingyang Zhang is a high caliber striker and one of the best punchers in this UFC light heavyweight division. I don't think Johnny Walker is taking him down and wrestling him up. That's probably his best hope. I think he falls into a kickboxing match, and I think he's getting knocked out in the pocket. I'm going Mingyang Zhang by violent knockout. We know Johnny Walker's chin is a red flag. How could I pick against Zhang, especially in China? Right? Representing his home country in the Shanghai main event. I think in the early hours of Saturday morning, we're going to be celebrating the success of the Lock City parlay hitting and Zhang capping it off with the highlight reel knockout win. Mingyang Zhang by knockout. Walker's chin too testy. I'm going Zhang on the money line with the over 1.5 in the Pavlovich Waldo fight for the magical plus 112. Give me the 2-leg Lock City parlay for this week's lock, and I'm feeling damn good about it. All right, let's jump to the next section though. I want to talk some of my most confident picks on the card. I will bring them up on screen and we'll discuss them one by one. So at the top, you see Mingyang Zhang. I already talked about this. Yes, I'm confident. At minus 310, you don't have to play my Lock City if you don't like it. You can mix and match him with somebody else. We'll talk parlays at the end and you'll see his name a fair amount. I think Mingyang Zhang is a lock of locks, and I think he's sleeping Johnny Walker. KO is the pick in the fight as well. Now, next up, Aljo. Aljamain Sterling at 145. I like him better. I like him better here. I think he can outwork Ortega over a 5-round war. I think in the grappling, he's the guy that ends up in top position. That's a problem for T-City Ortega. Ortega's got good jiu-jitsu, but I'll be shocked if he pulls out a submission from bottom. Striking-wise, I would lean towards Ortega having the better boxing, but I think Aljo could ride Ortega for 5 rounds. Takedown, control, embracing the grind against the cage, backside position against the cage, winning some key striking exchanges, winning some key grappling exchanges. And I won't be surprised if Aljo at the end of it looks like the better jiu-jitsu practitioner too. Aljamain is simply put better at positional control. Ortega brings the threat of submission, but I'm not really feeling that Ortega's finding it here with Aljo. Striking wise, I'll admit, I think Brian Ortega is the slightly better boxer than Aljamain Sterling, but I'm not thinking we're just in a kickboxing fight for 3 rounds. I think we're going to see Aljamain Sterling use that physicality, bully Brian Ortega a bit in the clinch, bully him on the ground, and showcase his level of jiu-jitsu. I'm sure Ortega's throwing up subs from bottom. I'm sure he's looking for emphatic moments, but I think Aljamain Sterling is going to win the battle of the wrestling and win the battle of position. I'm taking Aljo on the judges' scorecards. Now, Of course, he's a minus 275 favorite. It's a little bit wide. This is actually a 5-round fight. I anticipate this fight probably going into the later realm. Over 2.5 is minus 300. I think probably over 2.5 rounds in this fight. I see them hitting the championship rounds. I see Aljo getting the key takedowns and wearing Ortega out. I think Ortega is going to give a gutsy effort, but he always talks about how much better he's gotten, and this is an Ortega 2.0, yada D, yada do. We hear it every time. And then he goes out and he fights okay, but I can't pick that. I don't think so, man. Brian Ortega's wrestling, I think, gets exploited in this matchup. Aljamain Sterling was close with Movsar Evloev, who is a monster, an undefeated savage, and a high-caliber wrestler, grappler. Yes, the submission threat is quite good on the side of Brian Ortega, but I don't think Aljamain gets caught in a weird submission. I think his grappling defense is incredibly high level, and I don't think he's getting knocked out by Brian Ortega either. I think 145-pound Aljamain Sterling is actually better than 135-pound Aljamain Sterling, and I think a hard-fought decision win makes the most sense. He's a confident pick from your boy. Next up, Michel Pereira to win. I'm picking him over Kyle Daukaus by knockout. Short notice replacement, Kyle Daukaus. He's got good jiu-jitsu. Striking, not great. Coming off back-to-back knockout losses in the UFC. But outside of the UFC, he's put on a 4-fight win streak against some, okay prospects and mid-level guys, which I respect. He's got a nasty submission game, but Michel Pereira is still a beast, man. Anthony Hernandez, it took him 5 rounds to get the finish on Michel Pereira. Even when he's tired, he still can survive the onslaught. And I don't think Kyle Daukaus can stand with him at all. I get it. Pereira gassed a little bit with Fluffy. He gassed a little bit with Abus Magomedov, but those are top 15 middleweights in the world. Kyle Daukaus got released from the UFC after getting knocked out by Eric Anders. I think that he's getting knocked out by Michel Pereira here. I think this is a bit of a softball gimme type fight. Perfect scenario. Kyle Daukaus also taking it on short notice, replacing Marco Tulio. I think Tulio is a more difficult striking threat for Pereira, and Pereira's grappling defense isn't bad. He's got a capable ground game, sound in the submission defense category, and I think striking-wise, levels above in power and explosiveness. I think Kyle Daukaus is getting knocked out. Probably in the first round here, I think Daukaus is getting blitzed through. And Michel Pereira, yeah, he's a wide favorite around minus 260, but should definitely go out and win. Plus 145 for the knockout from Michel Pereira. I'm predicting a knockout. I think this fight goes under 2.5, which is minus 210. Explosiveness and speed are massive difference makers. And on top of that, there's legit thudding power with the side of Michel Pereira. And I'm calling a violence. I'm going Pereira. I'm going KO. He's a confident pick. Let's keep running. Next up, I actually don't like this one as far as odds, but I feel like Yizha should win. He should win the positional battle against Westin Wilson. He probably knocks him out on the ground and pound, maybe hurts him on the feet. Westin Wilson's only chance really is a fluky submission. He's a really tall and lanky kickboxer slash, grappler. He trains with Wonder Boy's crew, and he's a karate stylist as well. Yizha is kind of like a physical specimen beast type of style, can wear people down on the ground, does have some pop in the hands, has really good durability. Most likely, he's getting Westin Wilson out of there within the first 3 rounds. I'm going to say TKO finish probably for Yizha. Could grab a sub of Westin Wilson after hurting him. I think the physicality difference is going to showcase himself, but minus 1,200 is a terrible line. I hate seeing minus 1,200. I'm not happy about the odds, and this is just a straight fighter pick for confidence, but really betting-wise, and this is this week's Best MMA Bets, this is a really shitty line that should be more like 4-1 as opposed to 12-1. Which I think is a bit stupid to have Yizha as a 12-1 favorite. It doesn't make much sense to me, but I do think he goes out and wins. I do think he puts it on Westin Wilson, and I don't want to take him out of the most confident picks just because I think the odds are ugly. If he was a 4-1 favorite, we'd be talking about parlaying him up and, some type of staple play, and he'd be a more, high confidence lock piece. But because of how hideous the lines look, it makes you think, I don't know. The Florida heat's getting to me, chat. I got a portable AC unit now. You guys are excited for that. You'll see. I'll have it set up later. Yeah, Yizha should win. Those are 4 confident picks, but I'm not done. I'm going to bring up 2 more. What do we see? The over 1.5, Waldo Pavlovich, part of Lock City. And then I really like the over 2.5 in the Sumudaerji and Borjas fight. I think that makes too much sense. That spoke to me as well. Minus 265. I think those guys are hard pressed for a good 3-round back and forth. I think it's competitive and could end up going either way. I am picking the underdog by Borjas side, but I will say we're over in China. I have a slight worry of favorable decisions favoring the locals. And if it's close, I could see them tossing it to Sumudaerji, though. Borjas should have the striking slickness to give problems to Sumudaerji in the fight. But over 2.5 at minus 265 is another confident pick from me that I feel pretty good about, and I'm putting it in the slate. Now, this is not an official mention, but honorable mention for the spot. Rongzhu, I think that he can outstrike Austin Hubbard and avoid the grappling. He's really coming together nicely, showing good power, showing good timing on his shots. I feel like he just took out a good prospect in Cody Steele, and Austin Hubbard is, just a long-term journeyman. And I think that Rongzhu in his 20s is improving at a pretty quick rate, especially since he started working a bit with City Kickboxing. You've seen the City Kickboxing flow in his style, and they're riding high off of a big win this past Tuesday with Cam Rouston as an underdog. I think Rongzhu also wins, but not an official most confident pick. He's an honorable mention. Felt like I might as well mention a 7th just for good luck, but I'm feeling good about those calls, man. Feeling good about those calls. You might be like, oh, where's Neurology? Why didn't you put him in? Well, he's unproven and he's minus 470 against a power hitter in Kiefer Crosby. And Crosby's biggest weakness is grappling, and Neurology known for the KO. So, that's why I left him out. But I do think, a guy like Neurology should probably end up going out there and beating Kiefer Crosby. That being said, those are the most confident picks. I want to talk favorite underdogs on the card. So let's jump to the section. I'll bring them both up on the screen. Let's first talk what we've already spoken upon a little bit is where's Waldo. I think he's outboxing Pavlovich. I think Pavlovich's skill set is flatlined. I think Waldo's on fire. Confidence high. Getting better each and every time. Believes he can take it to the top. And I think there's an aspect of the mentality. Where's Waldo's hands are sharp as an ex-pro boxer. He's got the speed, former baseball player. You see it when he wings that overhand. I think in the boxing exchanges, he'll actually do fairly well. Yes, Pavlovich punches harder, but I think Waldo gets to the target more frequently, and I feel like he gets to the target first as well more often. So I feel like the Where's Waldo side should end up going out there and winning a hard-fought decision. It's plus 192. I think he's a solid underdog. Looking at Where's Waldo on the judges' scorecards, decision win for Waldo. Currently sitting at plus 375. I think he's live for that decision. Pavlovich got a chin on him. I know he got slept bad with Tom Aspinall, but it's Tommy Boy. He did crack Aspinall early, but I really feel like Where's Waldo has come into his own now and has a very well-versed MMA game with a footwork advantage, with a strike speed advantage, and with just the more polished boxing chops. I'm going to have faith in that being the key difference maker between these two men. Now, another one of the dogs that I like on this card, all right? Charles Johnson, plus 165. I actually have a third that I'm going to bring up as well. Plus 165 for Charles Johnson. Yes, Leonard Kavanagh's a red-hot prospect, but Charles Johnson, the prospect killer, knocked out Joshua Van, tends to always win the third round against these high-caliber dudes. And to be fair, a Charles Johnson spread is not crazy. I don't have the line for it officially, but something you can consider is betting the Charles Johnson spread side. But I think he's live to win a decision. I'm looking at the striking at Kavanagh, and it's sharp, but there's moments elapse. Felipe Dos Santos gave him trouble. Jose Ochoa gave him trouble, and he's taking on a long-time UFC vet in Charles Johnson, who was riding a good win streak. The only loss is to Ramazan Temirov, who just recently popped for, some type of steroid, even though he claims it was a cream. There was a drug test failure. I feel like Charles Johnson 4-1 in his last 5. A lot of fights in the UFC, a lot of fights as a pro. Like Kavanagh might not be ready for this jump. He's going to be giving up 5 inches in height, 3 inches in reach, and Johnson is deceptively good from the outside with underrated wrestling defense as well. Good strike combinations, nice long distance kicks, good long distance punches. I feel like Johnson's live to take home a decision in this one. Leonard Kavanagh is definitely a blue chip prospect at 26, but too much of an unknown with the prospect. I'm not ready to say he beats Charles Johnson. I think this might be a little bit too much too soon for a hot prospect. Instead, I think Kavanagh should have gotten another one before this level jump. Charles Johnson, he just beat Joshua Van like a year ago, and Joshua Van went on this amazing tear and is now fighting for the world title, but that tells me that Charles Johnson's quite good. And I'm a big Joshua Van believer. Even in that fight, I was saying Van was starting to find his flow, etc. And Kavanagh looks sharp too, and I think he's got a bright future, but to pick him against a staple of the flyweight division and Charles Johnson this soon, a Johnson that was on a 4-fight win streak, lost to Temirov, who's a beast, and he won that last round against Temirov. I can't do it. I'm going Charles Johnson to find the way. I think he gets a decision win. I think it's a hard fight. I think it's a good 3-rounder. I think the over 2.5 makes sense. And of course, the spread makes sense as well. The Johnson side, more than live. Now, I got one more. Borjas, bring him up. Where's my guy? I think that Borjas is going to beat Sumudaerji. Borjas, if you look at them striking side by side, Borjas is a lot more quick to the target and explosive. Sumudaerji has long limbs and throws decent straights from the outside and nice kicks, but more hittable in the pocket. He's going to lose the combination strike battle between the two of them. I think Kevin Borjas is sharper on the inside. I think Kevin Borjas is a faster striker. I think he's got better footwork. I think he's more sound in technical areas of the game. I think he's got a high striking fight IQ, and I don't think Sumudaerji's wrestle fucking him. How can Sumudaerji be a minus 175 favorite here besides because it's in China? He's coming off of decision win over Mitch Raposo, which I don't think he looked amazing in. Still got it done. Went 3 rounds with Charles Johnson, lost quick by sub to Tim Elliott, lost by sub to Matt Schnell after hurting him. Like, Sumudaerji's all right. I'm not saying he's a bad fighter. I think that he's UFC level for sure, and he's one of the better kickboxers in the division, but so is Borjas. I really think Borjas is coming into his own, getting better each and every time we see him. He's as easy to sleep on. He's 25 years old. He won as a big underdog on Contender Series back in 2023, and I predicted him to win there, and it was the first fight of that season, and I hit with the big dog to start it off. Lost to Joshua Van, lost to Alessandro Costa, and then just gave Ronaldo Rodriguez, a total striking lesson and beat the shit out of him for 3 rounds. I got to favor Borjas to find a way. Yes, he's given up some height and reach, but I think he closes that gap well, lands some key strikes, and I think he does some decent damage in this one. And I think he'll deserve the decision at the end of it. Whether or not he gets it, hard to say. Over 2.5, minus 265. Borjas to win via decision, plus 240. The money line at plus 150. I think it's more than live. I believe in it. I'm going with the side of Borjas to get the hand raised. I think that he's going to end up beating Sumudaerji in a close striking match. And I think you'll be surprised by the power edge on the Borjas side and the strike speed edge on Borjas' side. I think simply put, he's just more high caliber. Yes, Sumudaerji is good from distance and he has some snapping shots and some dangerous straights, but I don't think it's enough for Borjas, who has decent ability to close the gap. Borjas that can rip punches and close. Borjas who has very good timing. Kevin Borjas seems like he's on the rise right now. Sumudaerji southpaw as well, so watch for Borjas to land the straight right. Interesting fight for sure. I like the matchup, and I like the Borjas side more. I'm picking him to win. Those right there are my favorite dogs. I do want to jump to the Degen props of the night. Let's talk about some of the props on this card. So first things first, prop number 1, Mingyang Zhang knockout, minus 265. I do think he's going to KO Johnny Walker. I expect it within the first 2 rounds. Zhang in the first round, minus 135. Second round, plus 425. So value is on if you chase Zhang for a second round finish and if Walker's chin holds up. But I will say the way that Zhang starts fights, it's fast and it's looking for the finish early. And I think Walker might get drowned quick. But KO minus 265, the more confident of the prop calls. You could touch the second round for the more implicit value on the side. Because, Walker could go longer. He went 2 rounds with Ankalaev. Next up, Michel Pereira inside the distance, plus 105. I know it's probably knockout, but we have seen Michel Pereira club and sub, and he could hurt Kyle Daukaus and then end up submitting the submission specialist himself. KO win for Pereira, plus 145. Not crazy to chase that, but inside distance just to cover your ass in case it's a club and sub, still plus money at plus 105. Now, I like the Borjas 3.5 spread. I like him to be within 3.5 points at the end. So he can win across the board, 29-28, 30-27, etc. Or he can lose 29-28 across the board or even a split decision at minus 195. I'm telling you, there's value on that Borjas spread, and something that I had to mention if you're considering playing. Think about maybe Borjas spreading it as opposed to even if you don't want to play the dog. I think at the worst, he's winning a round. I think he's winning the fight, but at worst, he's winning a round. And then Waldo to win by decision at plus 470. I believe in my guy. I think he's live to get it done on the cards. Obviously, money line your best bet. What if he pulls off a knockout or something like that? But probably hard fought back and forth decision with Pavlovich. And then Johnson, Kavanagh over 2.5 at minus 355. Seems like a lock for an over 2.5 and a close fight. And that Johnson spread could also be played, but as of right now, I have not seen a number on it. But depending upon what it is, maybe you find it valuable. Should be live to hit. I'm picking Johnson, but Kavanagh, very good prospect. Over 2.5, I like a lot. Okay? Those are the props of the night, the Degen props of the night. I want to jump to the parlays. let's talk about some parlays for this card. Obviously, we did a Lock City parlay, which you can see on the screen. Zhang and the Waldo Pav over a round and a half at plus 112. Love that one. But I wanted to give you guys more. At the top, Zhang Sterling minus 121 for a safe but boring play. I think capable of coming through. Definitely a possibility of such. Then Rongzhu and Sumudaerji Borjas over 2.5. This is an alternate play. I don't know. I just feel like sometimes you got to go for the weird shit with the alternate. I wanted to do something different. Not with my most confidence, but I guess Rongzhu is an honorable mention of most confidence. And Yizha can't be played at minus 1,200 in really anything because there's no value with him. But Rongzhu and Sumudaerji Borjas over 2.5 at minus 107 seems like a good alternate. Now, if you want to play two of my favorite overs on the card, Waldo Pavlovich over a round and a half and Sumudaerji Borjas over 2.5 at plus 121, I think this got a damn good chance of coming through. Let's keep on making waves. Zhang, Sterling, and Sumudaerji Borjas over 2.5 at plus 148. I believe they win the Zhang and Sterling side, and I think Sumudaerji and Borjas is a hard 3-rounder. Now, if you want to go for 3 overs down below at plus 192, you add in Kavanagh Johnson over 2.5 to the Waldo Pav over 1.5 and Sumudaerji Borjas over 2.5. I don't think it's a bad way to swing things. Go down to the Savage 4. You go Zhang, Pereira, Sumudaerji Borjas over 2.5, and the Kavanagh Johnson over 2.5 at plus 212. Good little alternate action too to like remove, the Waldo Pav over 1.5 and not play Aljamain Sterling. And I think the chances of success are still quite high. 3-1 love. Zhang, Sterling, Pereira, and the Waldo Pavlovich over a round and a half. 3 confident picks with a confident overcall at plus 301. How could I not do a 3-1 love? Now, to pay your rent. This is if you don't got much money, but you need some money. Maybe your rent's coming due and you're fucking down and you only got, $150 to play with and you want to throw 100 at this parlay and come back and turn that 100 into $808. Zhang by KO and Waldo by decision at plus 708 will go from broke to you got money to pay the rent and you ain't sleeping on the streets this weekend. People ask, what's to pay the rent? Well, of course, the Lock City parlay could be the pay the rent parlay, but you're going to need some rent money to invest in it first. This is if you don't have it and you need it at plus 708. I think it's live, man. Now, down below, we're going doggy style, hitting it from the back. We got Waldo and Johnson, 2 underdogs at plus 712. I love it. Down below that, Zhang, Waldo, and Johnson, 3 underdogs at plus 962 for the big dog play. 2 underdogs. What am I saying? 3. 2 underdogs, but capable dogs at plus 962. I like the big dog play as well. Down below, Zhang KO, Waldo decision, and Sumudaerji Borjas over 2.5. Plus 1,018 for the Savage play. And then one more down at plus 3,483. Zhang, Sterling, Waldo, Borjas, and Johnson. Confident pick on Zhang, confident pick Sterling, and honestly, good confident underdog calls as well to bring it to plus 3,483. We're going Savage mode USA in this hole, all right, in Shanghai. But I'm not done yet. That's what you see on the screen. But drop a sneaky in the comments if you're not just screenshotting and bailing and you're sticking around because you guys know I always like to cook up some more magic. Now, if you believe in the overs in the fights that I've mentioned with Borjas, Sumudaerji, Johnson, Kavanagh, Pavlovich, and Waldo, and even if you said, all right, what am I thinking here? What do I want to do? Even if you just threw Zhang on that slate, you get plus 281. But if you also believe in Michel Pereira, now you got plus 420. So take a little ripskis for the plus 420. 3 overs with Zhang and Michel Pereira. I like that 5-legger at plus 420 a lot, and I think that it's live to come through, and that's a little sneaky one for you guys. Now, I got another one. I'm not done with the sneaky shit. Borjas to win, underdog call. Waldo to win, underdog call. Charles Johnson to win, underdog call. Plus 1,889 for the 3-dog play. I left that out intentionally because I wanted to do it at the end to mix some things up. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, hey, I like Borjas, I like Zhang, plus 220 for those together. Okay, but that doesn't excite me enough. I think Michel Pereira is going to blitz, plus 337. And you're like, yeah, I'm not picking Waldo, but I think he survives over a round and a half. Plus 628 for Borjas, Mingyang Zhang, Michel Pereira, and the over a round and a half in this damn Waldo and Pavlovich fight at plus 628. That one's pretty fucking good as well to bring you guys some extra live love. Now, if I go one more, we can go over in the Sumudaerji Borjas fight, okay? And then we're also going to throw down on the side of Zhang Mingyang, specifically by knockout, all right? We're going to get a little better money. Those two together is around minus 104, but that's not it. That's not all. I got more to call, All right. And then you throw the over 1.5 in the Waldo fight, plus 227. You throw in the side of Michel Pereira because you're nervous about Aljamain Sterling. You got plus 346 for that 4-legger. And now I think I'm going to do this as the grand finale. You're going to have faith in Where's Waldo. You're going, Where's Waldo? You're going Aljamain Sterling. You're going Ming Yang Zhang. Okay. Plus 422 for the main, co-main, and feature fight of the night predictions to be on point. I'm feeling that I'm live to clean sweep it, as I always am. The confidence is high. What do you want to throw? Borjas too? Plus 1180. You're like, fuck it. Also, give me the side of, Yizha. You want to play him now? You get plus 1286. You had him. I still don't want him in it. Michel Pereira, plus 1645. Then if you went with the side of Johnson to win, plus 4,786 with 3 underdogs, 3 favorites, and a little 3 confident and then 3 dog type plays. Obviously, bet at your own risk. There's a lots of ways you can mix and match these things and see. This is what I wrote down for you. Then I verbalized what else I was thinking for this card. I feel damn good about my picks. I feel great about Lock City. To chase, the Degen savagery on this card, obviously you're going to need to throw some underdogs in and hope that they end up coming to fruition here. But I think they will. I believe in my dogs. I think they got good chances. They're all in hard fights. And that's why I kind of like the spreads and overs in the flyweight fights. And then obviously I like the over in the Waldo fight, but I also think he wins. Maybe not the spread in the Waldo fight as much. I'd rather just go underdog there. But there's definitely some ways that you can play these dogs, even if you don't want to touch the money line. You're just like, okay, well, I don't agree with the pick, but I see the confidence. I see what you mean. I think it's going to be a close fight. Let me go the spread, or let me play the over, et cetera, et cetera. I think I'm working magic this week, guys. But if you are gambling, bet at your own risk, do your own research, see where it lines up with mine. Don't just blindly tail, okay? Put your research with my research to give yourself the best chance of success on throwing down for UFC Shanghai. Now, if you are blindly tailing, Lock City Parlay was pretty on point last week, all right? And I'm feeling damn good about bringing some thunder. I went 5-0 on Contender Series, and I hit the only dog on the card, so my calls are looking crisp this week. We got a 3 a.m. card, too, so if you're going to watch along, I'll be live at 3 a.m. for the whole card. I won't be offended if you just join me a little later for some of the main fights, like the feature fight on and up. It won't hurt my feelings too bad. I'll just be a little upset I don't get to hang out with you guys at 3 a.m. But hopefully I got some savages at 3 a.m. I know I'm going to have a lot of savages at 3 a.m., especially for my international folks. But stateside, get the fuck up or stay the fuck up and let's watch some UFC, because next week is an off week. So you got to just tolerate it this week with a little lack of sleep. Fuck it. You take a nap later on in the day. Still got Contender Series on Tuesday at least. So like we're not completely out of fights next week. We're still covering something, which I'm grateful for. I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. Let me know in the comments. Do you agree with my Lock City Parlay? Are you with it? Who's tailing me? Let me know if you're tailing me down below. I want to hear from you guys. And let me know what your Lock City Parlay or Savage Dog Lock is. Or maybe you're going for a Chalky Locky. I want to hear from the masses. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking as far as the lines that are catching your eye. I love you all. Thank you all for watching. Smash the like button on your way out. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, turn the post notifications on. And if you really like it, share the video. It always helps. And if you got nothing to say in the comments, W in the chat to boost the algorithm for your boy. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next one. Much love. Peace out.